You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Sunday the 30th of March 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and I've been working solidly today. So, and the air conditioning in my room is very noisy. Can you hear that? But anyway, I've just arrived in my hotel room. It's 11:15 at night. So yeah, it's a late one than I did say it was going to be. And obviously I haven't done any writing today. I flew on a flight to Faro in Portugal and back, and that's basically what I've done. However, I did do a little more yesterday because I think I did the podcast quite early yesterday from memory. So I did the podcast, I think it was in the morning, wasn't it? Well, I went for a walk in the afternoon, went to my favourite local bookshop, went to, had some lunch and stuff. And what else did I do? Anyway, I sat in a loungy place and had something to eat, and was in the mood to write a bit more. So I actually wrote a little bit more of my short story. Now it's currently, did I give it a title yesterday? I can't remember. But I wrote a little more. So now the Doctor, D.I. Galloway, Cryer and Charlie Pollard have all met up, and the Doctor's basically told Galloway that he's going to prove that Ace, or Dorothy McShane, wasn't behind the fire at the store the previous day. And Bob said, look, the best thing to do is take his word for it. Honestly, it's legit. And Galloway's, no, I'm not taking his word for it. And Cros's go, okay, well, that means he's going to show you, but that means the debriefing you're going to have afterwards is going to be massive, because of course UNIT will debrief him after he's travelled in time. And so he's going, so he shows him the TARDIS, and D.I. Galloway's response is typically profane, to the point where Charlie Pollard, a girl from 1930, has to say, will you stop using language like that in front of a lady, please? It's really offensive. Which was quite fun to write, because Charlie Pollard is very sort of proper. She's like a 1930s girl. Is that Edwardian? I think that's Edwardian, isn't it? And she's not used to hearing men swear like Galloway does in front of women. So, yeah, so Galloway, right, how are you going to show me? He goes, well, first, so I'm going to take you back to yesterday, and I'm going to show you what Miss McShane was doing. And he goes, well, how am I going to know it's yesterday? Because the Doctor goes, and yes, well, the first thing I'm going to do is show you yesterday. And that's where I finished it. So I'm not quite sure exactly where the story's going. I've got a rough idea. So they're going to go back in time to the day of the fire. Galloway's going to get more than he bargained for, because he's actually going to see the alien burst into flames and incinerate the shop. So he's going to know it's not Ace and Dorothy McShane and so on. So yeah, I've thought about where it needs to go. I don't know how much I'm going to get written over the next few days, because I literally don't know what I'm working for the next few days. So tomorrow I'm on airport standby in the evening, which covers a whole host of possible destinations. So I could go to Brazil. I think I can go to South Africa, but actually, because I've worked today, I think because the South Africa flights are so long, I might not be allowed to work today into South Africa. But I could probably do things like Abuja, Dubai, Nigeria, Middle East. We don't really have American flights at that time of night, because they, I suppose we could get one, because it would still arrive in the evening in American time. But yeah, there's not many. It's either going to be short haul and probably a night stop and maybe into like a 4-day European tour, or it could be a long haul flight. But literally, I'll go on standby at 5:55 and see if I get called. And then if I am called, then I will end up doing, I say it could be up to 5 days, could be up to a 5-day trip. But I could end up doing just one out, one back, and then have home standby after that. Or I might not get called tomorrow and be on home standby on, what day are we now? Sunday now. So I might do home standby from Tuesday, because I've got Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday and Friday as home standby if I'm not used on the airport standby. So it's all up in the air. Tomorrow I don't report to work till 5:55, so I will be able to try and do some writing, and I will be able to do a podcast, and then I think we're just going to have to play it by ear depending on what I get used for, really. So yes, not highly satisfactory, but it's as precise as I can be, but I will do my best to chuck something out. I'm determined for it not to be an emergency podcast, but I might have to resort to one of those. Not so much tomorrow, because I'm going to do one tomorrow, but then depending on what I'm doing the next day, it's all a bit up in the air. Yeah, so that's about it. So I'm going to have some water to drink. It's 10 to 11, so I'm going to go to bed. Chuck-out time is not till midday here, so I'll probably have breakfast here tomorrow, and then just see how it goes, really. Probably go and doze in the crew report centre for a bit, because, as I say, my report time is not till 5:55 p.m, and if I'm honest, I probably should have driven home, because although I would have been home at gone midnight, not much gone midnight, but just gone midnight, I wouldn't then have had to leave home till about 2 o'clock. So but then I would have got about the same amount of rest at home as I will here. It's just at a slightly different time. Anyway, I can't think of anything else I desperately need. Oh, God, there's something else I need to say. I shared it on my social media today. If you go to the Bow Street Society the Bow Street Society YouTube channel, there is an interview I did with award-winning author T.G. Campbell, who writes the Bow Street Society books. She's the only other voice you've really heard on this podcast. I think there's been one other as well as her. But and she's done I really enjoyed doing the interview. So it talks about what I write, the writing I'm doing. There's a little excerpt from Empress of the Trees. She also talks to me about my 60/40 Doctor Who The Bill crossover short stories. So yes, I should have said that at the start of the podcast, really, never mind. I will put it in the show notes at the beginning so that it's obvious that's the most important thing to get out of this podcast. So yeah, go to search for Bow Street Society on YouTube, and I think it's the video she put up today. It's an interview with me, or you could go to any of my social media listed at the link tree at the end of this, because I've put a link to that on all of my socials. The only place I haven't really is on my website, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes for this as well. Yeah, sorry, should have mentioned that at the top of the show, but I am quite tired. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.